Hi, this is Adam from Inflectra, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how you can run a test set as a tester. So in a previous video, I created a test set with 4 test cases and assigned it to Fred Bloggs, one of our testers. So in this video, I'm going to now log in as Fred Bloggs and actually run these tests. So when you log in as Fred, you'll come to the My page, and we've set this to only show one project, the current one. And if I scroll down, you'll notice that Fred has been assigned a test set called Sample Testing Cycle. And this is the one we created in the previous video. And what we'll do now is run that. So to do that, you hit the play button, and that starts the testing wizard. And you'll notice that the release has already been chosen. That's because in the test set we created, we specified the release and the sprint. If on the other hand this hadn't been selected, you would now be able to choose it. There's also the option to choose the build. This particular instance of SpiraTeam is not connected to a build server or CI server. If you're using tools like Jenkins or TeamCity or Bamboo, you can connect it and then have a list of builds auto-populated. So I'll hit the next button, and if you look now on the left hand side, you'll see we have all the test cases in our test set and with their steps. And this is the test execution wizard in Spira, and if you go to the main navigation, there's an option inside test execution to show it in different views. This is the split view, so called because we're split between the navigator on the left, where you can click around to move between the steps, and the detail page on the right, where you can see the details of a step and take action. There's also a table view where everything is shown as one long table scrolling. Customers or users who are familiar with Excel sheets and doing testing on a giant Excel sheet, they may be more comfortable with this view because they'll see all the steps fully written out. So it just depends on your preference. There's also the mini view, and that view is handy if you're on a cell phone because it will collapse it down to a smaller size, and also lets you embed the application. So if, for example, you're using a web app, you can run it inside an iframe and actually run the steps and pass them like that. But for today, we're going to use the split view. It's my favorite view. So in the split view, you'll see we have a test case with 1 step, which we already passed, so that's already done. The next test case has 3 steps, so that's a good one to play with. So let's go ahead and pass the first 2 steps. And let's pretend on the 3rd step, we clicked on the submit button and we got an error page. And we do have a real application we can use. So this is our library information system. Let's pretend we get an error page. So we will deliberately create a 404 like that. And so let's pretend we got a 404 when we hit the submit button. So received, the actual result was we received a 404 page missing error. I'll take a screenshot, print screen, and then I'm just going to paste that right in. And there you'll see is my image embedded inside the text box, and you can make it full screen if you want to see more. And we can now hit the fail button. Before we hit fail, there's one more thing we want to do, which is log a defect. So we'll click on the incident tab. It's going to tell us, are there any existing defects logged against this step? We'll view those if they are on a list, and that way we can make sure we don't log a duplicate. In this case, it's a brand new issue. We've not seen it before, so we do want to log a new defect. So we'll say page missing bug on the user list screen. Bug, and the priority and the severity component, we haven't got any, so that's fine, and we'll hit fail. So having hit the fail button, step 3 is now failed, the test case is marked as failed, and the other steps still remain as passed, of course, and we're now moved on to the next test case. The next one will pass that one, the last one, we can do the same thing, we'll pass that one as well. So we've got 3 test cases that failed, passed, and 1 that failed. So now what we'll do is review the results. So we hit the finish button. Actually, before I finish, one thing we do have as an option is if you want to leave the test case, you can always come back to it. So if I come back here and you scroll down on my page, you'll notice here in the My Pending Runs, there's my test run that I started. This is the one from the previous video we did where we didn't complete it, and this is the one I started today. If for any reason you decide that you can't finish it, you can reassign it to someone else, or you can even delete it. That doesn't delete the results, just prevents you re-executing it. Or in this case, we might want to resume it and continue to make changes, and let's say we're now finished, we hit the finish button, and when you hit the finish button, that locks it down so you can no longer make any changes. If you go back to the My page, you'll see there's no longer that one that we were running before, just the one from the day before, which I can get rid of. So that's an important thing. If you want to resume a test that you started, don't rerun it from test sets, go to pending test runs and choose resume. So if you look carefully, we'll go to testing test cases. You'll see there are functional tests. The bar chart and the pie chart have both changed. So if you go to the home page, the bar chart has changed. Go to the test case page, the pie chart has changed. You can now see the status that 3 have passed, 1 has failed. Go to the test set view, same thing is true. You'll notice here the pie chart shows the same thing. If I click on the testing cycle, there's my test set, and you'll see exactly which of the tests has passed and failed. If you want to see the result, click on the fail button, or you can go to the test run. It's up to you. If you click on the fail as a shortcut, it takes you to the fail result, and you can see the result right here. And you can see the fact that the first 2 steps passed, the third failed with a 404 error, and the screenshot is embedded for your convenience. And you can just hit the expand button to view the whole screenshot. And then typically what you'll then do is look in the view incident button, and you can see the defect log for this step. Or if you want to look at all the defects log for any step in this run, go to the incident tab and you can see all the runs and all the defects. And in this case, there's only 1 defect for this run, so it'll be the same as clicking on the link in the button below. But if you had, let's say, 4 or 5 steps and you log defects for each one, instead of clicking on each of these separate buttons, you could go to the defect tab, the incident tab, and you see them all here in a list. So there's different ways to get the information just to make it more convenient. So what we've done today, just to recap, is we assigned ourselves a test set, we ran the test set, we logged 3 pass results, we then logged 1 failure with a linked defect, and we've now ready to start triaging the defect. So in the next video, we'll be showing you how you can triage a defect, assign it to a developer and fix it, and then we'll look at how that impacts the system and the dashboards. So speak to you soon.